Hey there, thanks for tuning in today. I'm Dr. Morgan Nolte. I wanted to let you know that the video you're watching is a clip of a longer episode that's very in-depth about the best foods to eat to lower blood sugar. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'll link the full video below in the description. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share it with a friend if you find it helpful. Thanks for watching and enjoy this clip. This brings me to key takeaway number 3, and that's to limit your intake of refined starches and sugars and replace them with lower carb options. That would include whole grain and multigrain products too. If you love bread, pasta, rice, and sweets, I promise you there are healthier low-carb alternatives that still taste great. Now, is whole wheat healthier than white? Yes, but at that point you're kind of cutting hairs. They are still both high in carbs. You're better off to reduce your portion size or replace it with a food that's higher in fiber, protein, or fat. What I've done in my diet is find substitutions that are either less processed or even better, made with higher fat flours like coconut flour or almond flour. For example, instead of white pasta, we like the Banza chickpea pasta. A side-by-side comparison of their macronutrient breakdown on the Carb Manager app shows you why. 2 ounces of dry white pasta has 41 grams of net carbs, 2 grams of fiber, 7 grams of protein, and 1 gram of fat. 2 ounces of pasta made from chickpeas has 27 grams of net carbs, 5 grams of fiber, 13 grams of protein, and 4 grams of fat. When we have spaghetti, I'll do a big serving of the meat sauce and a smaller serving of chickpea noodles. Another example of a time where I don't find a substitution is when we make quick steak sandwiches. For these, I'll just scoop out my white roll as much as I can. That's an easy way to reduce your portion size of bread while still enjoying a bun. Little swaps like this can be really helpful for living a low insulin lifestyle that doesn't feel restrictive, like you have to give up all your favorite foods. I'll link to some videos below that I've done in the past on the best low-carb swaps for white pasta, rice, and bread, along with some great lower-carb fruits. The main point I want you to start doing is to look at the food label and check to see if it's high in net carbs, and particularly if it's high in added sugar. If it is, find an alternative. Using the Carb Manager app or another macros tracking app can make this even easier to visualize. It's astonishing to me what big food companies can get away with for marketing. For example, 1 cup of these Multigrain Cheerios has 21 grams of net carbohydrates. The net carbs are the total carbs minus the fiber, because remember, fiber slows the blood sugar response. But 6 of those carbs are coming from added sugar, which, as I covered in this video, is the worst type of carb for your health because of the high amount of fructose it contains. It boggles my mind that they can put a red heart on here and say it may reduce the risk of heart disease. You know what reduces the risk of heart disease? Real food that doesn't need a food label. The salmon swimming around in the ocean or that avocado sitting on the shelf doesn't have a food label. If your food is coming out of a bag, box, or it has a barcode, it should cause you pause. Look at the ingredients, and if you can't pronounce them or don't visually see what the food is, like beans or nuts, then you can bet it's likely full of additives. Tracking macronutrients levels the playing field between different foods. You can ignore the packaging and actually see what you're eating in terms of macros. My members and clients are often shocked when they see how many carbs they're actually eating. Once they start to bias their food intake towards more protein and fat, they feel better and start seeing weight loss. Examples of high starch and sugar foods that will raise your blood sugar are cereals, bread, pasta, bagels, chips, and tortillas made with flours high in starch, such as wheat, rice, potato, oat, bran, sorghum, barley, millet, corn, and the like. I also consider foods with high sugar amounts like high sugar fruits, candy, donuts, cake, cookies, ice cream, brownies, pop, sweetened iced tea, many sports drinks or coffee drinks, and some of those healthy kombucha drinks to be unhealthy simply because of the amount of sugar. Again, there are healthy, delicious alternatives to all of these that won't have such a spike on your blood sugar. You really have to watch out for the sugar in your drinks. I'm going to pick on one of my best friends, Michaela, here, because her favorite Starbucks drink was a large white chocolate mocha. A 12-ounce tall has 40 grams of sugar, which is about as much as a can of Pepsi. Added sugar is also hiding in drink additives like coffee creamer. My favorite used to be the peppermint mocha creamer, and I had about 2 cups a day with 2 tablespoons of creamer in each. There are 5 grams of added sugar in 1 tablespoon. So I was having 20 grams of added sugar in my coffee each morning. Crazy. Now, you may be wondering if this sugar-free coffee creamer is any better. My answer is no, and that brings me to our 4th takeaway. Takeaway number 4 is to avoid sugar-free ingredients that still raise blood sugar. Now, while macronutrients are important, they don't tell the full story. A food may have 0 carbs, heck, it could have 0 calories and still impact blood sugar. This is where it becomes important to screen packaged foods for a few key ingredients to avoid. Here are the main artificial sweeteners and texture additives to look out for on the ingredients list: maltodextrin, sucralose, saccharin, aspartame, and acesulfame potassium. If it has these, steer clear because chances are the sugar-free product will still raise your blood sugar. The first ingredient is maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is a white powder made from corn, rice, potato starch, or wheat. Even though it comes from plants, it's highly processed. I did a little research into maltodextrin and was a little grossed out by what I found. Maltodextrin is used as a thickener or filler to increase the volume of a processed food. It's also used as a thickener in personal care items, such as lotion and hair care products. So if eating lotion or hair care products sounds good to you, go ahead and eat that maltodextrin. It's also a preservative that increases the shelf life of packaged foods. It's inexpensive and easy to produce, so it's useful for thickening products such as instant pudding and gelatins, sauces, and salad dressings. Here are a few examples I found in my parents' pantry, even though I talked with them about this before. That's how I knew I needed to do a video on it. Sugar-free Jell-O, sugar-free jam, Crystal Light, and many other similar pouches that you add to water. It can also be combined with artificial sweeteners to sweeten products such as canned fruits, desserts, and again, those powdered drinks. Maltodextrin has an even higher glycemic index than table sugar. This means that maltodextrin can cause a sharp increase or spike in your blood sugar shortly after you eat foods that contain it. The other sugar-free ingredients I want you to look out for are the artificial sweeteners saccharin, also called sweet and low, sucralose, aka Splenda, aspartame, aka NutraSweet and Equal, and acesulfame potassium, aka ACE-K and Sunnit. All of these have been found to raise blood sugar levels by dramatically changing the makeup of your gut bacteria. These are also known as post-oral metabolic effects. Unlike maltodextrin, they may not immediately impact your blood glucose, but over time they will contribute to insulin resistance and poor blood sugar control. If you're trying to reduce your sugar intake but still want a healthy sweetener, I recommend sticking to stevia, monk fruit, or erythritol. Stevia and monk fruit tend to be a little easier on the gut and cause less gas than erythritol. So instead of having this no sugar added hot cocoa that has maltodextrin, acesulfame potassium, and sucralose, you could just make your own with some milk, cocoa powder, and stevia drops. That's what we do in our house, and my kids love it. Again, it's these simple, easy, delicious swaps that will make your healthy lifestyle stick.